Cassian sat at his kitchen table, staring at a small white bowl of plain oatmeal. For months, food had stopped feeling like fuel or joy. It felt like a puzzle where all the pieces were the same shape but none of them fit. He sighed, his fork hovering midair. He was tired of the numbers, the timing, and the constant, nagging question, is this safe for me? The grocery store was even worse. To Cassian, the aisles no longer smelled of fresh bread or bright citrus. They felt like a labyrinth of warnings. He spent hours squinting at the tiny black text on the backs of boxes, calculating and second-guessing. A loaf of bread wasn't just bread anymore, it was a series of hidden traps he didn't know how to avoid. It feels like the world turned into a math test overnight, doesn't it? A voice asked softly. Cassian looked up to see Amara. She was standing by the produce section, holding a bunch of vibrant, leafy kale. She had a way of looking at people that made them feel like they weren't alone in their struggles. Amara didn't talk about good or bad foods. Instead, she talked about the rhythm of the body. She picked up a bright red bell pepper and held it out. Your body is like a garden, Cassian, she said. It doesn't want you to starve it, it just wants the right kind of rain at the right time. We aren't looking for a perfect plate, just a balanced one. Cassian looked at his empty cart and then at the pepper. The fear of making a mistake felt like a heavy weight in his chest. I just don't want to get it wrong, he admitted. Every time I eat, I feel like I'm taking a risk. He gripped the handle of his cart, his knuckles white. Amara walked over and placed the red pepper in his cart. Let's start with colors, she suggested. Half the plate is for the colors of the earth, the greens, the reds, the purples. A quarter is for the strength of protein, and the last quarter is for the energy of grains. When you see it as colors instead of numbers, the maze starts to open up. Back in his kitchen, Cassian didn't reach for the plain white bowl. Instead, he pulled out a large, flat plate. He began to chop. The sound of the knife against the wooden board was rhythmic and soothing. He focused on the crunch of the cucumbers and the deep orange of a grilled salmon fillet. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't counting, he was creating. Amara visited later that afternoon, bringing a small jar of toasted seeds. She showed him how a little bit of crunch and healthy fat could slow down the way his body used energy, keeping things steady and smooth. It's about the company your food keeps, she explained. Fiber and protein are the best friends a carbohydrate can have. They keep the peace. Cassian took a bite of his meal. It was savory, fresh, and filling. He realized he didn't feel the usual spike of anxiety after the first swallow. By simplifying the rules into a picture of a colorful plate, the fear had begun to dissolve. He wasn't just a patient managing a condition, he was a man enjoying his dinner. You're doing it, Cassian, Amara said, leaning against the doorframe. Cassian looked at his plate and then at his friend. The math test hadn't gone away, but he finally had the right tools to solve it. He knew that tomorrow might bring new questions, but for tonight, he was satisfied, safe, and finally, at peace with his plate.